Okay, guys, I just woken up and saw we're still in a war with Iran and that Lindsey Graham died. World is crazy, so I'm here to make it more depressing. I'm kidding. This episode will feature few of the mysteries I found yesterday and that really disturbed me. So, yeah, stay a while. When Catherine Ackling Bryan didn't show up to pick up her two daughters from school, her husband Michael panicked. Within 30 minutes, he called the police to report her missing. Michael soon found out that Catherine had been acting strange all morning. She was completely frazzled when she dropped the girls off. Her younger daughter was actually still in her pajamas, something she had never done before. It turned out the little girl had been sick the day before. At first, Catherine planned to keep her home, but changed her mind at the last second. After dropping them off, Catherine came back home around 10 in the morning. She later brought some items to the school before taking a bus to the shopping center. Security cameras at the St. Mary Village Center caught her visiting a Target, where she bought fresh clothes for the girls. At 12:17 p.m., she walked out of the mall. What happened after she left is a mystery. No other footage of her exists. I believe she made it back home though, because those new clothes were sitting neatly inside the house, and she had already started a family meal in the slow cooker. By 3:30, she was gone without a trace. When the school first called Michael, he thought it was a mistake and figured she was just asleep. But when he checked the house, it was empty. Her phone and purse were on the kitchen counter, but her house keys were gone. The police started a massive search. Over the next year, the family and authorities made desperate appeals for help. But no more footage turned up and no witnesses came forward. The police don't actually suspect foul play. Catherine had a history of mental health struggles and was dealing with a lot of stress from her daughter's illness. During the walk to school that morning, the kids noticed tears in her eyes. Her family deeply believes she is no longer alive, even though her body has never been found. It leaves the whole thing completely unresolved. For well over a month, Matthew Dillon's family and friends have been looking for answers. He vanished on January 2nd, 2023, and it completely tore their world apart. Then things took a strange turn. CCTV cameras caught Matthew walking around in York, a city over 100 miles away from his home in South Liverpool. Matthew is 46 years old. He lived with his dad in Mossley Hill, Liverpool, which is where he was last seen leaving the house. It was a freezing morning, completely ordinary. His dad asked him what he was up to, and Matthew just said it was a nice day out and that he might head down to Southport. That's about a 90-minute trip on public transit. Later that afternoon, Matthew texted his dad on WhatsApp. He said he'd be home around 10:30 at night if the bus was on time. His dad texted back, telling him to take care. The app showed Matthew read that message at 10:29 p.m. It felt like he was almost through the door, but 20 minutes passed and he never showed up. His dad sent another text at 10:50, but it didn't even go through. Matthew either shut his phone off or lost his signal completely. When he didn't come home, his family called the police right away. Early on, everyone looked around Liverpool and Southport. People shared his face all over social media, begging for information. Nothing turned up in either place. Then the news came in that someone saw Matthew in York. People claimed they spotted him sitting in a local pub, a place he used to visit. It makes no sense to me that he'd take off on a huge trip like that without telling a soul. Going from Southport to York is a 3-hour journey, and he would have had to travel right back through Liverpool to get there. Witnesses saw him in York on January 3rd and 4th. They said he looked calm, not acting strange or erratic at all. The last time anyone officially saw him was the morning of January 5th. A security camera caught him at the York train station. He was wearing the exact same clothes he left Liverpool in 3 days straight before: a heavy blue jacket, a dark winter beanie, and a simple messenger bag. Matthew is a white man with a large build, short sandy hair, and he wears glasses. Let me tell you about a bizarre mystery from May 2004, out on the streets of Monaco. The Jaguar Formula One team did something wild. They mounted a massive, incredibly valuable diamond right onto the nose cone of their race car. It was all a marketing stunt for the Monaco Grand Prix, but a sudden crash sent that jewel flying into the dirt, starting a mystery that has lasted over 20 years. The whole idea came from a big corporate sponsorship deal. Jaguar's team was feeling the pressure to get more eyes on their brand and keep their sponsors happy, so they set up a deal to promote the Hollywood movie Ocean's 12 during the race. Monaco is famous for glamour and celebrities, so it seemed like the perfect spot for a stunt that would go viral. Jaguar worked with a diamond company that supplied flawless diamonds for the weekend. Each Jaguar car had one of these gems stuck right on the nose cone. These weren't cheap glass replicas or movie props. They were real, perfect diamonds worth about $250,000 back then. The marketing team wanted the risk to be real. Having a fortune strapped to the front of a car moving at insane speeds was supposed to bring extra excitement to the movie promo. Of course, no insurance company on Earth would touch a stunt like that. Jaguar openly admitted that losing the diamond was a risk they were willing to take. With the world watching, they were either going to look like geniuses or corporate fools. On Sunday, May 23, 2004, the race started. After a few messy start attempts, Christian Klein took off near the back. He was just a young rookie driver for Jaguar back then. Within the first minute, everything went wrong. Klein tangled with Nick Heidfeld's Jordan car. The contact smashed Klein's front wing, trapping the debris under his wheels so he couldn't steer or brake. At that point, he was just a passenger, flying straight into the tire wall, nose first. That was the end of his race, right on lap 1. The nose cone with the diamond was buried deep in the tires. Marshals moved in quickly under the yellow flags to get the car off the track. Klein walked away fine, but the $250,000 diamond was in trouble. The Jaguar team went into a total panic, and honestly, they weren't just worried about their driver. One manager later admitted his immediate thought went straight to the diamond, not Klein, which is wild to say out loud. Safety rules meant the team couldn't run out to the track during the race. A crane lifted the wrecked car away while the rest of the drivers kept racing past. The team had to wait 2 hours for the Grand Prix to finish before they could look at the car. When they finally got to it, the diamond was gone. It had been glued tight into the carbon fiber before the race, but it completely vanished during the crash or the cleanup. The news went everywhere, turning their marketing stunt into a massive drama. People standing near the crash site even started searching the dirt, hoping to find a fortune. A few theories popped up about what happened. The simplest explanation is that the diamond just smashed to pieces or got lost in the dirt. No crime, just bad luck. Hitting a tire wall at that speed could easily dislodge the stone and throw it somewhere hidden. It could have easily been missed in the wrecked carbon fiber and swept away into the trash when they cleaned the track. But the most popular theory is a lot darker, and it's exactly what Jaguar's management suspected. Someone at the scene saw the diamond and pocketed it. A Formula One crash draws a lot of eyes, and the Monaco track puts fans and marshals right next to the action. When Klein crashed, pieces of the car flew everywhere. A quick-thinking marshal or a fan could have spotted the sparkler and grabbed it before anyone noticed. With that kind of value, whoever found it had every reason to keep quiet and sell it later down the road. There were hundreds of people right there, and anyone could have slipped a tiny gem into their pocket away from the cameras. Even so, nobody ever confessed and the jewel never turned up. The theft theory is still just a theory, but racing fans love talking about it. There's another angle people discuss, implying some inside planning. This theory says Jaguar wasn't actually that reckless. Since they couldn't get insurance, maybe they quietly swapped the real diamond for a cheap fake. A fake stone would have shattered into dust during the impact. Some people also wonder why race officials even allowed a hard projectile on the front of a car in the first place. The wildest theory is that it was all calculated marketing. They put a fake diamond on a rookie's car, knowing a rookie was way more likely to crash than a veteran. The real stunt wasn't showing off the diamond, it was the massive media coverage they got from losing it. Sherry Anderson loved her family deeply, especially her 2 young grandsons. When December came around, she was getting ready for Christmas. But for her family, the holidays now just bring a painful reminder of her disappearance. Sherry was last seen on December 2nd, 2000. She walked out of her home in Stanwood, Washington at 9 o'clock that morning. The night before, she told her daughter her plans. She was going to grab breakfast at McDonald's, pick up some developed photos, visit Walmart, and then head to the Everett Mall. She told her husband John she'd be back by 4 o'clock for dinner. John fell asleep that afternoon and woke up at 5:30 to find the house empty. He called her friend thinking she might be there, but the friend hadn't heard from her. After calling around, a search started at 9 that night. A friend actually found Sherry's car locked and abandoned outside the Everett Mall. There were no bags or presents inside, which makes me think whatever happened occurred before she could even make it back to the car with her purchases. Her purse and the gun she carried for protection were left untouched inside the vehicle. Her family knows she wouldn't just walk away. She was a dedicated social worker, and her bank account hasn't been touched since that day. The family took charge of the search, checking pawn shops for the custom wedding ring she was wearing, a diamond between black onyx set in white gold, but nothing ever turned up. There has been no trace of Sherry since. John filed for divorce a year later, saying he needed to move on. The rest of the family is still looking for answers. Sherry was 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighed 130 pounds. She was biracial, Caucasian, and Cherokee. She was wearing a green jacket, jeans, and white shoes. If you know anything about what happened to Sherry, please contact the Everett Police Department at 425-257-8413. I want to take you back to June 5th, 1991, down in New Mexico. A security guard working the shift at a Super 8 motel right near Interstates 40 and 25 decided to walk over and check on room 233. The people staying there missed their checkout time hours ago. They were supposed to be long gone that morning. I found out the room was actually rented 2 days before, on June 3rd. A guy using the name Eduardo Collin checked in, saying it was for 2 people, just for 1 night. When the motel staff finally unlocked that heavy door, they walked right into a nightmare. A woman was hanging from the shower head in the bathroom. There were empty alcohol bottles scattered all over the place. The workers didn't see any obvious signs of a struggle. Local police rushed over, and early on they figured she did this to herself. The heat that June was brutal, and the room's air conditioning was turned completely off, so her body was already badly decomposed. To me, that points to her dying almost immediately after they got to the room, probably that very first night. The police found zero identification on her. No wallet, no names in her bags, nothing. So they listed her as a Jane Doe. It took until 2021 for a real tip to come in. The public started calling her Becca, and investigators think that might actually be her real first name. She was described as a white or Hispanic woman, somewhere between 25 and 35 years old. She stood around 5 feet 7 inches and weighed about 140 pounds. I picture her with this long, curly, strawberry blonde hair and hazel gray eyes. Her ears were pierced, but she didn't have any tattoos or notable scars. Just a few scrapes on her face and leg. The autopsy later showed heroin in her system, but the medical examiner noted it wasn't a lethal dose on its own, unless, of course, she had never used it before. In the end, they ruled the cause of death as asphyxiation from the hanging. Detectives went through everything in that room, hoping for a name. The item that sticks with me the most is a small photo booth picture left right on the table. It showed her smiling next to an unknown man. The motel staff thought the guy in the photo looked exactly like Eduardo Collin, the man who checked them in. They figured they probably took it at a local mall right before everything went wrong. They also found a small scale on the same table with the name George Martinez scratched into it. Looking at the scene, the police figured the scale was used for drugs. But nobody knows who George Martinez actually is or if it was just a fake name. George Martinez is a pretty common name in New Mexico, after all. Even with a clear photo of her face, finding out who she was turned out to be incredibly tough. Back in 1991, the coroner took her fingerprints and dental records to run against national databases. Nothing matched. They didn't do standard DNA profiling back then, and later attempts got messy because her remains were cremated. That left almost no biological samples to work with, though I hear some preserved evidence from the scene might still have her DNA. From day one, I see 2 massive questions here. Who was this woman, and what really happened to her? It makes you wonder why someone traveling with a partner ends up dying totally alone with nobody looking for her. Eduardo was the only real name the police had. They treated him as the main person of interest. We still don't know if he was just a terrified witness who ran away or if he actively caused her death. If she did it herself, he had the answers about her mindset. If it was murder, he's the guy. But tracking him down was a mess. The info he left at the motel was mostly fake. He used a real name and a real local mailing address, but he wrote down a completely bogus license plate. Years down the road, police tracked down his family and found out he had passed away from natural causes. It's hard to tell if the police verified his death independently, but the paperwork makes it look that way. Then came another twist. When detectives showed the family that photo booth picture, Eduardo's relatives looked at the photo of Becca and the unknown man and were completely certain. They said the man was absolutely not Eduardo, and they had no clue who the smiling woman was. That throws a huge wrench into what the motel staff said. Maybe the staff just misremembered him from that brief moment in the lobby, or maybe the family wanted to protect his name even after he was gone. Then, in March 2021, a new lead breathed life into the case. Someone came forward to Albuquerque detectives and said the woman went by Becca and came from the Los Angeles area. Right now, the case is stuck. I don't know if they've managed to get a good DNA profile or if they've hired a genealogy company to find her relatives. But even without DNA, I think we can solve this. We have a clear picture of her face. It just needs more eyes on it so Becca can finally get her real name back. The expression she's making in that photo is a double-edged sword. It catches your eye and makes people look at her story, which helps it go viral, but on the flip side, investigators don't have a normal, neutral photo to share instead.